My name is Aaron Matityahu, born in Baghdad, Iraq, 1931, with a big family. My mother and father was married when they were pretty young, and I used to have 4 brothers, 4 sisters. And my father used to be a merchant, used to work, sell and buy fabric, and also because of the big family, we all used to work even when we were young, and we went to school. All of us, we went to private school because in Iraq, the schools with the Muslims, they are not that good. The Jews went to a private school that belonged to the Jews, like Hamoreh, like Alliance, like Rachel Shahmoun, like Menashe Saleh. All the schools are private Jewish. My mother used to work also because she needed to support. She used to do all kind of work for the abaya. They used to wear this abaya for sheikh, and she used to do this gold and silver artist kind of thing that I don't know how you call it. Anyway, and we all went to school. We all work hard because we want to, survive as all the families. And we, like all Jews in Iraq, we ate only kosher food. We never ate outside, never ate any food that from the Muslims. And we used to cook only at home. And we kept tradition, all the holidays. We went to the synagogue all the time. We didn't know reform or not reform, but we all kept tradition with no change. Like Yom Kippur, we all fast, and Yom Shabbat, we go to synagogue, and we have Leil Shabbat, meaning Shabbat evening service. And this was really tradition of all the Jews there. And Jews always went to a Jewish school. We never, and also you can see, when you see a Jew in Iraq, you see they are different look, they dress different. And this is why you can immediately see, difference between the Muslim and the. So we were in Iraq. We have a lot of problems. When I was young, I was really sometimes scared to go on the street by myself. And we always have problems because the regime changed there. In 1941, there was a revolution done by the Rashid Ali al-Gailani, that they threatened the king. The king was the young king Ghazi. So he left with his, what his name, Abdulillah, that he was taking care of him because he was young. So they left. In the meantime, this group of regime, they were like kind of going toward German, the Nazis. So the British, of course, didn't like that, and they have a big fight in Iraq, and they have, it's like a small war. Anyway, they get out of this guy and they put him back. In the meantime, before the British came, we have 2 days in 1941, that was in June, that was Shavuot, Chag Shavuot. And we call it Farhud, it's kind of pogrom. And they enter our houses, they killed anybody they saw, they took everything in our houses, they burned houses. I was lucky that I went, all of my family, with my aunt, and we were a big family with 4 aunts. So she asked all of us to come to her house, because her house belonged to a Muslim, but this one of a kind Muslim, that he have a good heart, that he really protect us. He said, you come here, stay there he has a big basement. We went to the basement, we were about 60 people. And he said, he has 14 children. He put them outside. He said, only if one of my children will be killed, you will be killed. So we were scared that something going to happen to one of his children. But thank God. So we survived. There was very few. Like the night of the Farhud, my sister was 11 years old. My mother sent her to my aunt to see, because my oldest brother didn't come home back. He was somewhere. So in her way to go to my aunt, two women, Muslim women, took her, one from the right hand, one from the left hand. Both they went to kill her. And suddenly, one person, another also Muslim, came and saved her. He said, this belongs to me, you cannot touch her. So he took her, he asked her, where you want to go? So he took her back to my mother. That was really like, what you call it, miracle, like Nes Me'Shamayim. So this is what we suffered at that time, when this regime always changed, and they did whatever they want. Any Muslim can say, to point any Jew in the street that this is Zionist or this is communist. They will take him. You will never see him back again. So even before the Farhud, we have a lot of problem. Jews cannot go outside in the night. Many, they were really killed. And one incident that I have, when I was in school, in class, 2 policemen came to class. They took my math teacher, name is Chaim Cohen, and after a week, we saw him hang in the middle of the street. That was a shock. I couldn't sleep for months. That was terrible. And also, the regime and the Muslims, they want to show us, the Jews, that we are really like we are nothing. So there was a man, his name is Avram Adas. Avram Adas was friend of the king and all this high society there, and he was very rich. All of a sudden, they took him and they put him in prison. And after a week, they took all his money, about $4 million they took, and hang him. And after that, we were really felt like we are really like, now we are like mice. If they hang this guy, so they can, and we were really scared to get out of our houses. It was terrible. We suffered a lot. I can tell you things like, one day I was walking with my cousin in the Shar Ghazi, what they call it, the Ghazi Street, the main street. And 2 kids our age, they came and say, Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi. So they start hitting us. And one of them came from my back and bite me. And I can show you, even until now, we have scar, like you can see it. He took a piece of my back. That was terrible. So we ran away and we escaped, and this we were in a really bad. Our life was very hard. So.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, Farhud, that was when the regime let everybody do whatever they want, even the police. They join the people there. They open houses and they burn. That was in the evening, and when my aunt asked us to come, then we could go there only in the morning. So the same night, we left our house, and then in Iraq, you have the roofs are flat, and they used to sleep on the roof because it's very warm weather there in the night in the summer. So then we ran away, not on the street, from roof to roof. They burn so many houses, so we have to go from one to the other, and all the time it's like a war. You can hear the rifles and the what do you call it, the hand guns and all this kind of noises for the bullets and things like that. So, and in the morning, it was kind of quiet for maybe an hour or something like this, and we ran away, and we went to our aunt, where this man was really, one in who knows. It's like, so he saved us. And in fact, after he saved us, after a week or two, we took so many valuable things like silver, things like that. We brought him. He didn't want to take it. He said, I didn't do it for money, for some, I do it for my heart. And that was, there are some, they have a good heart. And amazing to know, after they finish this like war, they find out that been killed around 200 in Baghdad, Jews. Besides, they injured a lot of them. But they killed more Muslims because between themselves they kill each other. When they come to a house and they see chair or something or radio, or everybody want to take it, so they fight between themselves and they take it. They have no any value to to life. They find out they killed more Muslims than Jews, and we didn't fight them. We didn't have anything, but between themselves. So anyway, that was really terrible. After that, my parents decide to take us all and to go to India to emigrate. We went to Basra. From Baghdad to go to India, you have to go in a boat, ship. So we went to Basra. Apparently, my father find he has a cousin there. They do the same work in fabric. So until we went to do something there, he started working there, and my brother working there, and my other brother working there, and I start working, selling all kinds of things for the American Army. And I used to sell chewing gum and razor blade and things like this. I was about almost 10, 11 years old. Always we work because we need really to help. The schools was very expensive. So I want to tell you one incident there. When we were in Basra, my brother Moshe used to work with the British Army when they have all kind of merchandise come from India or other places to Iraq through Basra because they have the port over there. So he used to work there, and my mother bought him a very nice blanket. So he used to use it, and one day, one of those Muslim doing cleaning, I know what he is doing there, he came and he liked this blanket, and he said, "This is mine." And my brother was, "What are you talking about?" He said, "No, no, this is mine." So they start almost fighting. Then the police came, and they went to court. So they asked, who is my brother said, "This my mother gave it to me." So bring your mother. So my mother came, and she said, "This is yours?" He said, "Yes." I said, he asked the Muslim, he said, "This is your blanket?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Swear by God and Muhammad." He said, "I swear by God and Muhammad, this is mine." He said, "Take it, it's yours." And they get fined to my mother. This is how was, this is how it was. I mean, it was really hard. You can't explain it. I mean, we have hard time. But after that, it was kind of quiet. We have hard time. But after that, it was kind of quiet. We forgot, by the time we stayed about 2 years in Basra, we went back to Baghdad. And we kept our life, until 1950. 1950, thanks to the American, really, they send airplanes to take the Jews they want to leave, and they pay the government of Iraq for each person, I think, $10 or $20. Those days, there's a lot of money. So anyway, when we heard that, immediately I took my brothers. The oldest was already married, has children, so I took we were two brothers and two sisters. We went to a synagogue. You go there and you give them your, what they call it, like Social Security, what we have here, identification. So we give it to them, and they will take it from you, and they give you kind of card. They call it laissez-passer, meaning you go, you never come back. So finally, we were from the group that was really in the beginning. I mean, we were only at the first 1,000. In Iraq was at that time about 200,000, approximately. So then once our name came, and we went to the airport to leave, we left with nothing. They gave us a sandwich from the Jewish community there, and we went to the airplanes, and in the airplanes, they took us to Cyprus because they didn't recognize Israel at that time. So we went to Cyprus, and then we stayed there about 2 days in a British camp. And then from there, Israeli airplanes came and to pick us to Israel. So we got into the airplanes, and once we saw it's written in Hebrew, and we start, taking like mezuzah. It was written there, no smoking or no, exit or things like that. But for us, Hebrew, that was, our dream come through. So that was really something. So finally, we get to Israel, and all the Jews start going, by the thousand. At that time, almost 99% of the Jews left between 1950 and 1952. It takes. Then another story, they left about 7,000, and then about 5,000 left on the 1970, I think, something. Then they left about 200, and these 200, this is what Saddam Hussein finished them. Every time he want, he hang some of them, and the rest, they change even. I met with one, they changed their names to not Jewish name, because the Jews in Iraq, all their names are Jewish. Like my family, my father's name is Meir, and my oldest brother Yaakov, and my other brother Yitzchak, and my other brother Moshe, and my name is Aaron. So we all the Jews were really in. So we came to Israel. That was another start life. We can talk about it a lot, but we were happy to come to Israel. No matter how much hard was in Israel, we went to kibbutz, went to the army, it's another story. But the story in Iraq was very hard. I mean, the Jews was in Iraq 2,500 years since Nebuchadnezzar, when the Babylonian, destroyed the temple, and they took the Jews to Iraq as slaves at that time. And they stayed there for so many years. Then the Islam came. That was about, I think, 600 years after the Messiah, after the Jesus, so they conquered all this area, and they are ready. They don't like anybody. They like to have everybody to be Muslim. They don't like In fact, we used to play soccer with this group that I used to play. I was in sport all the time in my life. Because when I was in Israel, I went to be a physical education teacher, even in the army. Anyway, so we used to play soccer only with a group like Armenian or Assyrian, but we never play with the Muslim. They will kill us. They will not play with us. They don't even think that we are capable to play. They used always, and when we used to play with this group like Armenian or Syrian, the Muslim came outside and throw stones on us. But that was normal life. Many incidents, what I can say, I can sit with you and talk many hours. It was very hard. It wasn't easy, but thank God we survived.
Okay, very good.
In fact, this group of soccer that if you can show in the pictures, this was a group that we were, what you call it, at Nu'a. At Nu'a, that was a group, it's really underground. We used to study Hebrew, and we used to study all kind of exercise, and we used to, we got into using handguns. But we didn't use it because we didn't have enough time. There were all kinds of groups, advanced and more advanced. It depends how many years there. I was young. I was 16 years old. So a lot of Jewish was underground. But when they cut somebody, they took him, you don't see him. They disappear. It's very hard. And at the same time, the communist movement was in Iraq. The Muslims themselves. Some of the Jews, I think, joined them because they want to be against. So if you don't believe in Zionism and you don't believe in Eretz Israel, so you go the other side. You go to be a communist. So very few they were there, and they cut some of them and they hanged them. They were very believer in communism. One time I really have close friend. He was older than me, and he was, after they hang him, I knew that he was a communist. And he went to court and his parents tried to bribe the judge, and because this was common, I mean, you can. So they give him a lot of money, and the judge says, "Only one thing I wanted to say, that I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be like communist thing like this." And he didn't want to do that. He was so brainwashed. So they hang him. I was crying at that time. So this is our life was there. I mean, you know, it's. I tell you small stories. I mean, many stories. I have. One time I used to have. Really, it's not very common, but I had a girlfriend, and I used to meet with her and sit in a park. You know, sit on a chair or a bench, and sitting there and talk and sometime hug. So one day, all of a sudden, from our back, a Muslim came. It was really dark a little bit. He took her in her hand, and he said, "Try to, take her." And I was shouting, so he started hitting me. And he really, I mean, I will never, I mean, give up. How I can give up to? He want to take her, and start walking. All of a sudden, another Arab came. I think he was Bedouin, kind. He looked like really from those they wear this Bedouin clothing. So he came there and he said, "What's going on with this?" So I started shouting. I was crying. He wanted to take her. So he went to, and he will never leave her, and I will never leave her on the other side. So this guy went to talk to him something, and so he came on my side. He said, "How much money you have?" I said, "Well, here, all my money. Just, I don't remember. I don't have too much money." So I gave him the money, and then he let her go. And we start running. And, this is, you don't have really freedom or anything like that. It was hard.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
So when the government agreed to let the Jews leave with the help of, as I said, with American, so they say everybody wants to leave, they come and register. So we registered in 3-4 parts because my parents didn't want to go and leave us first. The first we went, me and my brother Moshe and 2 sisters, one Simcha and one Najiba. So Dalia. So I tell you, it's a funny story. We used to go to the synagogue, and there was a police on the 2nd floor, and they will take your identity, all this paper, and they will give you the laissez-passer, kind of like passport, but it's just go without come back. So in Iraq at that time, we didn't know what that meant to wait in line. They used to go and all together, just, pushing each other and this. So how am I going to do it? So in the middle, there was, those pipes for the sewer came from upstairs. I went there, I climbed on this pipe, and there was a balcony there. I get into the balcony. I went there. I got all my 4 identity, my brothers and sisters, and I went there. And the police start telling me, I don't know how, it's a very bad word, insult me. Why you did this? So I said, "Please, I am already here. Just, finish with me." So the other guy said, "Okay, give it to me." So they agreed to let us. This is why we're from the beginning. So after that, you go home, and then in the paper they will they will put your name when they are ready, when your time is coming. So when they call us, we go to the synagogue and stay there for a day or 2. Just lie on the floor, and they give us some sandwiches, and then from there they took us to the airport. in the airport, they check everything. You cannot take anything beside that. If you have a kind of picture, something, they have to go over it and they have to sign that you're allowed to take it because they are scared that it's something, I don't know, politics or something is secret or anything. So this is how we left. As I said, we went to the airplanes and went to Cyprus, stayed there 2 days, really very few food. And then we went to Israel with the Israeli airplanes as we were like, so many in the airplane without sitting even, just get in. And we saw this writing in Hebrew. Wow, for us was in Hebrew, so we touch it and we kiss it like mezuzah, and it was written no smoking or this exit here, exit there, all kind of stuff. But for us, really was like a mezuzah. So when we went outside when we got to Israel, we went out. The minute we get out, we really went down and we kissed the floor of the airport, and they came and they spray us. Say press with DDT or something, I don't know. I don't know why, but we don't care. So in Israel, they took us to a place, they call it Sha'ar Aliyah, meaning gate of Aliyah, of the, coming to Israel. So there we stay not too long because I couldn't stay there 1 minute. It was, it's like concentrating camp. You are free to move, do anything, but you have so many people came from Romania, from Morocco, from Tripoli, from all over the world, from Egypt, from Iraq, from Yemen, so you see all these people and running, and their offices, and they send them all kind of places, and we couldn't eat the food because we are not accustomed to this kind of food that they serve there, because they serve food with the huge pots and it was really terrible. We couldn't even see it. So then my cousin, that he came to Israel with illegal. He went through Iran, and that was a year before us, because a lot of Jews left Iraq through either Jordan or Iran or other places. Some of them were successful, some of them killed them in their way, because they took their money and they killed them instead of taking them to Israel. But some of them were lucky. So he came to see us to give us some kind of direction. So then they took us to a kibbutz Dorot in the Negev, and we stayed there. The first night was Friday, and was so nice, dining room and lot of people, but we couldn't eat the food. It was so different, our food was, we said we took us about 50 girls and boys, all young. They call it Gar'in Babli, because they put us a group so you can go and help there. So went there and we asked for dinner. You have bread and jam, that enough for us. So because little by little we get used to the food. It was really different food. I mean, it was at that time, the food was really different than now. Now you go to Israel, you see all mostly Mediterranean food, but at that time there was more European, and we couldn't, eat that food. It was totally different. Okay. But anyway, we managed. We were there. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So as I said, they let us go without taking anything with us, and we left everything behind. My brother has a house. Uh, he couldn't sell it. He couldn't because they knew the Jews want to sell. At the beginning, they could sell like Persian rugs and silver and gold and things like they start. But then the Muslims said, "Why we are buying? We're gonna get it anyway for free." So that because we have to leave it and go. So we left everything behind. And not only that, my father, when he got to leave, when his name came, they came with that a letter that somebody gave him money that he need to give him back. He never see this person. He's Muslim from place very far away. So he need now to prove that he doesn't owe him anything. How he can do that? So we have a lot of trouble. Even look what they did. So I don't know. At the end, he has really problem. I don't know how he finish it. Even the person not exist maybe. They just give you a hard time. But we left. But everybody left everything there. They couldn't sell anything. Their houses, and they used to have lot of really nice houses, the best areas in Baghdad on the Tigris River, and there were a lot of rich people there. So they couldn't do anything about it. Now if really they want to evaluate how much money and how much properties, this is in the millions. Also the synagogues. They left the synagogues and the Muslims. Some of the Palestinians start coming. I remember when I was there, still they start coming, but they gave them all kind of places between. But then they gave them the houses belong to the Jews. So, yeah, we didn't get anything.
What about this whole...
So, as I said, I born in Baghdad, 1931. I have, my parents have 4 children, 4 brothers and 4 sisters, 8 children. And my oldest brother Yaakov, second brother Yitzchak, Moshe, and my name is Aharon. And my oldest sister is Ada, second is Carmela, and third is Dalia, and the fourth is Suzanne. So when we immigrated to Israel, I was in the army. I finished the army. After that, I went to Wingate Institute for Physical Education. And when I graduate, I met with my wife, Nadine, and she is from Egypt. Her parents real Sephardic, immigrate from Sepharad long time ago to Egypt, and they were very wealthy family in Egypt, but they immigrate when they have also trouble with Abdel Nasser and all this stuff. So we met in Israel. I have 3 boys, Arnon, Eldad, and Amir. I'm sorry to say that I lost my oldest son with the airplane crash. He was a pilot, and it was terrible situation. I have my second son, Eldad. He has his company, fiber optic. He's in the high-tech business. He's very successful, And Amir, he's an orthopedic surgeon. And at the same time, he's creating all kind of pieces of I don't know for you know to put in the body. I don't know what kind of pieces. I mean,
Medical
for orthopedic, yeah, very successful. They look after me. When I was in Israel, I was a physical education teacher after the military. But that was not enough to be a teacher, and so I went to the government, I mean school, to do in the summer camps. After 2 years, I make my own summer camp, private, with a partner. This summer camp grow very, very big. I mean, with the first year was 30 kids, second year we have 90 kids, third year we have 300 kids. After 5-6 years we have 3,000 kids, many places. It was big, big business. So I was, I have really vision. I mean, I want, to get as much as I can. I mean, I always say that the sky is the limit for me, and they took it from me. I mean, they see that I'm doing on a private more than I do as a teacher, and so they didn't accept to be like working for somebody. So this is why when they finish their school here, they found his company, Eldad, and he's really successful and very happy. And Amir, he's excellent doctor, that he is really very successful. And he, in fact, give a lot of speeches and courses all over the world now, everywhere. So I have from Eldad 4 children, his wife Charlotte, and the oldest son is the youngest. Go from the youngest is Zach, and then Erica and Talia, and I can't believe this. And what this big bank in New York name? You scratch this. What is big bank in New York? Chase. His name is Chase. You scratch it and you do. So, and Amir has he married with also a doctor from Debbie from family Eisenberger. Met her in Maimonides Hospital in New York, in Brooklyn. And they met there and they decided to get married, and we have 2 children. They're very nice family. Her parents, very nice. And he has a boy and girl, Jacob and Ariel. So from our oldest son, we have 2 children, Guy and Emmanuel. So we have 8 grandchildren. And here I started looking for a business when we moved here. So I find a small restaurant in Palo Alto. It was kind of a typical American coffee shop. So I worked there for 3 years. After this, I met with some people. They, in fact, recommend to me to say, you go and sell real estate. After they knew my background, a friend, a client of mine, they used to come and eat and sit with me. I went there and go to school for 3 months. I took my license, and this business worked for me excellent. I mean, I was very, very successful. After 1 year, I asked my wife to leave her job. She used to work with Smith Klein as a controller, in fact, but she trusts me. even though she never been in sales. I was in sales when I was very young. So she joined me, and from there we find one of the best sales person. So together we work as a group, and we did everything that our client will be happy, and we were very happy. We were successful. At the same time, we invested ourselves in, in apartment, things like that. So this is why now I retired, but I like a lot of fruits, and I planted in my house in Los Altos fruits. I belong to rare fruits, California rare fruits. They call it a big group, and I have about 50 kind of fruits in my house. At the same time, I got into a new thing that I bought with my son Eldad, property at Lake Talak in Caparapolis, on the lake, 20 acres, and I planted 6 acres of olive trees, about 1,000 trees, and this year we're going to have olive oil. So this is exciting. We are very busy. In fact, I am busier than when I retired, busier than I was working. I was always busy all my life. So, but I'm happy. I'm not regret that. So now we are waiting for the olives. It's doing very well. And last year, in fact, we got about 1 gallon, but in very little kind of. But this year, I think we might have 10, 15 gallons at least. We might sell. So this is our life. I am happy. I'm happy we meet with our kids. We are a very strong family. I mean, they come to us, all of them, every Friday evening. The kids go to a private school, to Hausner, a Jewish school. In fact, they are so young and they can read and write Hebrew. And in fact, they do the Kiddush on Yom Shishi on Friday night. And they're fantastic. So I'm happy. Look at them, and this is give me a very good feeling. Fill my heart with joy.
Great.
The thing is, by the way, you can see this in that thing, how the Husseini went to Germany and talked with Hitler. It's all there. But anyway, when we have this revolution with Rashid Ali al-Gailani, he was hoping, and he was sure maybe, that the German gonna come, because the German get into the Alamein, and then Montgomery stopped them, and they were looking that if the German will get into Egypt, then they can take all the Middle East, and Iraq want to join the German. This is why. So the British want to come back to Iraq, and they in fact they stopped in Basra, and they didn't do anything. They let them do whatever they want, the Muslim. There was a chaos there, and this is what they start killing, and how you call it, burning houses. They raped women, and they killed, and they did whatever they want. Then the British came in, and they make like how you call it, seder. How you call it? They make
Order.
they organize. So we can see immediately the British army in the streets, and Abdulillah came back, the guy that he was apotropos of the king, and with the king, and they gave an order that to the police anybody you get out to the street, they will kill him. For about, I think, 2 days, something like this. This what was very, very quiet. And then the British get in. And this is, in the meantime, what's happened, that what, happened, all this, what we call it, Farhud at that time. So this is what I know. I mean, it's more, you can see it really in that CD, more details. All this step by steps, you can see it there really how it's happened. Okay. And you can see a lot of pictures. It's very interesting really. You should, if you can put pieces from there with this, it will be perfect.
Okay, very good. Okay, go ahead.
This is a certificate when I graduate from elementary school.
Do you want to say more about it?
Well, it said that I, graduate. That it says here, like my name Aaron Meir Matityahu. This. Oh, this is not elementary school. You need to take it back. This elementary school.
I thought you. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
This is a certificate when I graduate from elementary school. It says here the Mamlaka al-Iraqiyya, meaning that this is the Iraqi kingdom, and this is certificate that I graduate from elementary school, and this is my picture, and this is the stamp of the King Ghazi and the signature of the Secretary of Education in Iraq. This is how they used to do when you graduate from, because in Iraq to graduate from school, it's a big thing, was at that time. So not all the Arab Muslim used to go to school. Jewish, all of them, they go to school. They go very few. This way it looks like for them something like a doctor. And this one here, when I graduate from middle school. Same thing, it says here, graduate from school, and the name of school, it's Frank Eni. Frank Eni was a British Jewish that he donate money for the school. So we get a lot of donation from, people from all over the world. Because in Iraq, they were really, most of them not very, very rich. They were, some of them rich, but not all of them. So they used to help in schools. This one, when I graduate from high school.
Hold on, I gotta zoom in for a second. You want to explain that it was just the temporary one?
When you graduate from high school, they give you this temporary, and then after 3 months, you got the big certificate. But I already left Iraq at that time, exactly. So it's waiting there somewhere for me anyway. And because of this, when I came to Israel, they asked me, because I want to go to Wingate Institute to high school to be a physical education teacher. So asked me if you have any document. So I brought them this. What is this? This in Arabic, we don't know. So they gave it to people that they have a Jewish community kind of thing. So they translated to Hebrew, and they gave it. So they accept me to go to study in school. So
very good. Okay.
The group of the high school, when I was the soccer group, because I was there in the group, and if you see myself, this is me here, this is me here.
Okay. And how old are you here, more or less?
About 16.
Okay. Okay. Good. Anything else you want to say about that photograph?
Well, we used to play only by this Israeli school, I mean Jewish school. We couldn't play with the Arab school, only between ourselves. There was about 3-4 high school, and we used to play between ourselves, between the school of, Jewish school.
Okay. Well,
This kind of equipment they used to use in Iraq, it's made from wood, and we used to exercise. You see, like, give you a lot of strength in your shoulders and your biceps here. So this is really what they used to do. We don't see this now. This is very old.
and is this you?
Yeah, that's me. Let me see. Where the other one? Here.
Right.
Yeah, this is me. This is really was part of our exercise when I was in the Tnoa, what they call it, the underground. But we used to go outside and exercise, and just for our how we call it, preventive, what do you call it, sport? Yeah, defense sport.
Self-defense.
Yeah. This is me here.
Okay. Go ahead and tell me about this.
This team was really from the Tnoa, from the underground group, that all these guys was belong to that. So we used to have meeting in our houses, but we used to play. So, we get together and part of our, movement.
Okay. Hold on.
Let me see video. 1 second, let me see it again. Yeah, I can see now.
Go ahead.
And this is me here. This is me.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah. This is when I was in 3rd grade. And this is me here. It's hard to see, but this is me here.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
We used to see mostly American, what do you call it?
Films?
Film. So I was really impressed of Humphrey Bogart and all these, actors. And this is what, one day I was thinking maybe I will be an actor. So I really make this picture. So I look like, I thought I look nice, I think. I have one that I didn't bring it. I couldn't bring everything.
Okay, so this is you with a tennis racket?
Yeah. I was involved in all kind of sport. I really like to run and jump, and I used to swim a lot, and I used to jump a lot of high jump in the pool, and I was just very active in sport.
Okay. Go ahead and tell me about this.
As I said, we used to go to school and work so we can have enough money, to survive and to help my parents, really. So this is a clothing store belonged to, in fact, to a Muslim. But he hired us. All this work here are Jews, but the owner is a Muslim, and this is here. This is me here.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, go ahead and tell me about it.
So this is statue. It's King Hussein the First, and this statue made of bronze, very big. I see myself. I'm standing here, and the statue was done, I think, by British.
Okay.